that list of 241 passengers who lost their lives seated on 2D of AI 171 was Gujarat's former Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. Vijay Rupani was flying to London on June 12th to meet his wife and daughter. 12th June 1206, according to the friends and family and also the BJP colleagues, was almost like a personal emblem for Mr. Rupani. He almost believed it that this number 1206 actually stood for good fortune for him. But look at life's cruel twist. He died on 12th June 1206 again. The crash brought to an end an almost 3-decade political career whose high point came in 2016 when Vijay Rupani was made the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And let me share you a story of 2016 when he was actually announced. Nitin Patel, who was then the Deputy Chief Minister of Gujarat, had started accepting congratulatory messages. I had interviewed Mr. Patel then. And then came the surprise announcement that Vijay Rupani from the neutral Jain Bania community will be then Chief Minister Anandiben Patel's successor. Anandiben was being moved to another state as the governor. He was in Rajkot then to celebrate his birthday when his name was actually announced as the Chief Minister. Vijay Rupani steered the BJP to victory in the assembly elections which happened in a year later, that was in December 2017. And at that time, there was a massive Patidar agitation which led to almost like a resurgence of the Congress. In the 182-seat assembly, the BJP won 99 seats. It was the lowest BJP tally in the state since it came to power, but enough for a majority. And Vijay Rupani was picked up again as the Chief Minister. BJP replaced him as Chief Minister before the 2022 assembly polls with Bhupendra Patel taking over. Rupani even then accepted the party's decision without any complaint. He was later made the BJP's Punjab in charge, and that was his last organizational assignment. But away from all this political numbers that I shared with you or his roles, Vijay Rupani will be remembered for his soft-spoken demeanor, his ability to connect with people from all walks of life, and someone who was affable. And over the next few minutes, we'll be paying tribute to a leader who embodied the true spirit of public service. Joining me on the show is Manogya Loiwal, who has actually tracked Gujarat politics very closely. We also have Ajay Umat, Group Editor of Ahmedabad Mirror and Nav Gujarat Samay. We'll be joined by Jay Narayan Vyas, former Health Minister of Gujarat, who's also a close friend of late Vijay Rupani. I'm going to begin with you. Manogya, as journalists who cover the BJP, all of us would have stories of having seen Vijay Rupani in one role or the other. But one thing was clear, that Mr. Rupani was always a phone call away. He was answering phone calls, always available, and he had very, very acceptable way, unlike most politicians that we see of these times, of connecting with an individual, and that made him a leader stand out. I mean, someone who stood out in that clutter, almost like a group of leaders that we interact with on a daily basis.
Well, absolutely, Maria, and you would understand we all have our personal anecdotes, but when you talk about Vijay Rupani, I was covering the Gujarat elections in 2022 and he was just the outgoing Chief Minister because Bhupendra Patel had taken over, and it was an absolutely new experiment for the state of Gujarat before they went for elections. And of course, one of the toughest tally, 99 to the historical 156 that they reached in the 2022 elections in the winters. So I was covering Gujarat elections and I called him up and I said that we're looking forward to some time with you. I was doing a special series with the network. And as I called him, he said, हाँ, मिल सकते हैं, चाय पियेंगे, interview नहीं देंगे. Now the clarity with which the leader comes and tells you that I'm ready to meet you, we're ready to answer your questions, but interview nahi denge. And that is what made him so affable, because he was never rude to anyone. He'd never said a no. He knew that it is your profession to speak to them. It is your professional compulsion to meet them. But he also knew that his party line would not allow him to speak for a certain reason or also because of the elections. Since 1971, since he joined Jansangh, till the time he served the party, till the last breath, he knew exactly what he was doing. One of the most calm, composed leaders, you would say. Everyone knew him. He knew everyone, but you could not drop names in his name. And that is what made him so different from every other leader. So grounded, so meticulous in his approach. And yet he knew almost everyone. Remember, from Feb 2016 to till the time he was sworn in as the chief minister, he was also the party chief. So he was the party president when the party did not fare well. But you also have to understand that it came with a lot of anti-incumbency of almost 2.5 decades, and it is not easy. However, BJP has the credit of defying anti-incumbency and turning it into pro-incumbency. Rather pro-incumbency in multiple states over the years. However, when you meet these leaders, you understand that they might be the chief minister, but if you see chief ministers of the history of multiple political parties or the regional satraps who are the regional parties who have command in their hand and everything with the drop of a hat, that is what has made these leaders, the BJP leaders who've been disciplined in their own way, however, have had the power, the taste of power, yet not sip it enough to ensure that it is just there around it. The connection that he had with people, the anecdotes that people have for him are outstanding. And the fact that he was able to give a bit of time to his family and more to the party speaks the volumes of the work that he has done and served to the state of Gujarat and many other people who have been connected to him around the country.
Absolutely. Someone who stayed away from the limelight but always offered a cup of chai, if not more news or breaking news or even interviews for journalists. That was an indication of the nature of politics he did and also the kind of politician that Vijay Rupani was. Let me bring in someone who has worked very closely with Vijay Rupani. Manogya, continue to be with us. Jainarayan Vyas, former Health Minister of Gujarat, also a close friend of late Vijay Rupani. Mr. Vyas, what are your memories of Mr. Vijay Rupani, and when was the last time you spoke to him?
I met him about few weeks back. One will have to understand that Mr. Rupani was not a paratrooper. He came through ranks and files of the party. He was a student worker, student leader, gave full time to Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad. Then as mayor of Rajkot, he conducted the affairs of the municipal corporation well. From there, he graduated to the party organization and eventually became the member of the Rajya Sabha. After that tenure, he got elected to the state assembly. In between, he was also the president of the state unit of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And then he became a minister. Minister of Transport and other departments, and then when there was a time for change of guards, he was picked up to head the state government. So he had worked in various capacities. I think that is what made him humble and also to understand the kind of psyche of the people. And he was also deep inside a nice human being. That is, I think, all this knowledge would have been useless if he did not have the human qualities. So I think he was coming from a minority community, not having the kind of a community clout, and yet rising to two highest positions, the president of the state unit of the Bharatiya Janata Party and also the chief minister of Gujarat. I think he had a lot of tact within himself and also the capability to deal with people, say no in a very sweet manner, and be firm when he wanted to be firm. So I think he had all the qualities of a good public functionary, and that is what made him popular. So I would say that he was a proper person in a proper place.
As someone who has tracked Gujarat politics very, very closely, we are remembering the life and times of Vijay Rupani, someone who wasn't really assertive, did not really believe in taking credit for the work that he did, but he continued to be one of the most trusted leaders of Prime Minister Modi, one of the trusted aides of Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat?
You asking me?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Maria, you are asking me?
Yes, sir, I'm asking you.
I think there's some... Hello?
Yes. Okay, if you can't hear me, we'll try.
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yes,
Huh.
so we are talking about how there was rise and rise of Vijay Rupani and also someone who was extremely trusted by the Prime Minister.
Maria, the issue was that, Vijay Rupani was basically a man of organization. So he was an all-weather man for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Bhai Shah. And he was the only person, who could take government and organization together at that point of time. Look, he was an accidental chief minister in Gujarat because, caste segment was not in his favor. And when he took over from Anandiben Patel, there was an agitation going on in Gujarat. That was, Patel reservation agitation or stir, you may call it. And Jignesh Mevani, Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur, they all were creating a lot of problems for BJP government at that point of time. And Vijay Rupani was party president at that point of time. And from there, Mr. Modi and Amit Bhai thought that, he would be a perfect choice because, he was belonging to Jain community. So there was no issue from scheduled caste or OBC community or Patel community, and he was the one who was a team leader. And Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah had seen an acumen in him that he can lead everybody together, and that he did for almost 5 years without any problem in Gujarat.
And your personal story of him, Ajay Ahmed? Any story?
Yeah, there were a lot of there are a lot of personal stories with him with Mr. Vijay Rupani. But he was a very straightforward, frank, and if you give him any feedback at the time of Corona, for example, because
Yes.
he was heading the government at the time of Corona.
That's right.
And at the time of lockdown, he had a habit that every second day he will talk to all the editors. He will call all editors on video conference, and then he will take feedback. So I gave him one of the feedback that, sir, you are following this protocol of lockdown very strictly, but in that process you have stopped all these private doctors and private clinics, and people are in dilemma where to go. And government at that point of time was not allowing even testing of Corona. So I said, suppose if I have a diabetes, if I feel that my sugar level has gone up, and if I want to go to a laboratory, why am I being stopped that you can't conduct a laboratory test in private laboratory and you have to go to government laboratory only? He said, I'll come back to you within a couple of hours. And same evening, he told health commissioner and health secretary that we should allow, private laboratories to do testing, Corona testing. And that was one reason. And second thing, I suggested him at that time that you allow private doctors to open their clinics so that, people can go to the doctors with their comfort level. And within 2 days, he started that also. So he was such a person that, who he was always open to suggestions and actions. And he was one person who will take immediate action. There was no ego in his office or in his chamber. Many bureaucrats can go openly. His cabinet members can tell him, can give feedback, and he would listen to all.
Yes. And Manogya, a thought from you, as journalists, we have covered also that transition which happened from Vijay Rupani to Bhupendra Patel. And very, very gracefully, he hands over a bouquet to Bhupendra Patel, and this transition is happening at the Gandhinagar head office of the BJP, Shri Kamalam. And even then, he actually believed that he doesn't really need to have or hog any limelight. I mean, not assertive, not aggressive, everybody's friend, and yet a leader who delivered administratively.
Well, the major difference between BJP and any other party in the country in present times is the discipline. And what you call as, people might give it different names, but the pure word is discipline. As a worker of the party who has risen up since the time he joined the party, remember he was born in Burma, he was brought up here, and the fact that he has lived in the land, he knows every bylane, every place. As a chief minister, when the party asks you to resign, he just takes an hour to wrap up things and say, okay, here we go, and he puts in his papers without a word being put out anywhere, not even in his personal circles. Now this reflects two things. One is the discipline that you have with the party and the ranks and files, and the number two is what kind of person and persona you carry with yourself. There are a lot of chief ministers who have been in their senior leagues, have served the states for several years, and when they've been asked to put in their papers and move ahead to a different role or a bigger role or a wider role for a different reason, there have been instances of friction. Here there was no friction, and that speaks volumes of the easy transition from one government to the other, one chief minister to the other, and one governance to the other with the same party color and the party flag. The difference is that once people like him, who have such marvelous control and understanding of the organization. Remember, you have to understand two things. The top duo of the country, which is the Home Minister Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, have served in Gujarat. It is like on the back of their hands. So anything happening here is presumably known to them before anyone else in the country knows about it. That's because of more than 5-6 decades of political career that they've served here. At a time when they know that they're asking one of their trusted lieutenants to move ahead to a different role, they will also be knowing on the kind of response and reaction that would come. And here I would say it was a pure gold response that has made him larger than life in past few years.
Absolutely, certainly larger than life. And when we were to look at that year, 2016, when he becomes the chief minister, Mr. Vyas, Vijay Rupani by then had already served as the General Secretary of the BJP 4 times and was made the state BJP president. And then he goes on to become the chief minister, from organization man to taking the role of an executive head of the state. It was a transition. But because he had worked very closely with Prime Minister Modi, he knew that it would be, he could handle the state as complex as Gujarat pretty efficiently for good 5 years.
See, if I am asked to sum up Rupani's character,
Yes.
I would say, I would borrow a few lines from the poetry If, which said that if you can keep your head when everybody around you are losing their one,
That's right.
and blaming it upon you, then you are the man who will be respected. So Mr. Rupani had that capability of keeping his cool amidst lot of criticism, resistance, initial nonsenses that were thrown at him. And still, as Mr. Ummat said, he kept his cool and went on doing job, building up the innings. And when it came for him to retire, very gracefully he handed over the baton. So this is what makes a person accept the rise and departure with the same grace. I have seen very few people who can behave with this kind of a balance, leaving the power abruptly and for no fault of theirs. So I think I would place him as one of the best leaders amongst the BJP lot, because normally, having stayed in this party for over 3 decades, I would say that the people are more concerned about their interests and egos, more so egos, which I think both beyond a point did not matter for Vijay Bhai. So I think that is what made him stand out amongst others.
Ajay Umar, Vijay Rupani is the second Gujarat chief minister after Balwant Rai
Mehta.
Yes, who was Mehta, to meet his fate this way, in the sense die in a plane crash. You wanted to make an intervention particularly with regards to what happened in 2016 and the response of Vijay Rupani then.
No, look, I was watching the visuals, and I distinctly remember, Maria, the day he resigned.
Yes.
That day, before he went to...
We are looking at 2022 now, yes.
2022. That day I distinctly remember I was in Sardar Dham, and on the dais, Mr. Vijay Rupani, C.R. Patil, Purushottam Rupala, then Nitin Patel, Mansukh Mandavia, all these top leaders of top BJP political brass, they were sitting in a row, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi was addressing everybody through video conferencing. And there, Prime Minister said that Vijay Bhai, today is Samvatsari. Samvatsari means he being a Jain community people. He said today is Samvatsari. And Samvatsari is a ceremony in Gujarat, where you say Michhami Dukdam. Means if I have done something wrong inadvertently, or if anything has done wrong by me, I simply pray and please forgive me. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi told Vijay Rupani Michhami Dukdam, and told Michhami Dukdam everybody, and he said that sometimes he simply give a hint. Prime Minister Modi, he's a master communicator, so he simply had given a hint that in administrative capabilities sometimes you have to take some decisions, and then he left it there. And Mr. Vijay Rupani, after when his turn came, he requested organizers that, observers from Delhi had come and I had to leave immediately. So while he was leaving, in the lift, we were together. And I asked him that, that Swamiji was remembering you fondly, and are you going to Dubai for Abu Dhabi for the inauguration of that temple? So he said, Ajay, can I tell you one thing off the record? I said, yes. He said, I am simply going to my house and I'll be signing my resignation letter and I'll be submitting it to Governor of Gujarat. These observers have come and I have been asked by High Command that I have to put in my papers. So I was shocked, but he was simply laughing. I said, why? He said, it is party's decision and party has told me I am a simple worker of party. Party has given me a lot of opportunity. They made me general secretary. They made me member parliament in Rajya Sabha. They made me party president in Gujarat. And now if they want me to resign, they must have thought some other position for me. And without, any no complaints and anything, he went gracefully and he said, you please convey my sincere apology to Swamiji that I won't be able to come to Abu Dhabi temple. And within 2 hours, he tendered his resignation. Everybody was turned. Maria, just imagine, you need to have nerves of steel that, you are asked as chief minister to resign. And he was very cool. So I can call him Captain Cool, who was a real team leader, and he resigned very gracefully.
Ajay Umat, thank you for joining us and sharing that anecdote. But, one story which is across all, papers is also about that number, 1206, which was supposed to be like his personal favorite.
I spoke to him. I spoke to him on 10th. I spoke to him on 10th. And because I was just discussing this by-elections, we have 2 by-elections in Gujarat. One is in Visakhapatnam and the other is in Kadi. So I was asking him what will happen to Visakhapatnam. So he said, now I am not taking interest. And he said, on the contrary, I am going to London. So I asked him, when are you going to London? He said, I had a ticket booked and I had to cancel it twice, but on 12th I'll be going. And then I said, 12th June? He said, yeah, that is my lucky number, 1206. And another coincidence that, he was sitting on 2D business class, but if you see the serial number, that serial number was also 12. That day it proved unlucky to him.
And what a cruel twist. Ajay Umat and Mr. Vyas, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your views.
Thank you.
We will be slipping into a short break and then we'll be back in just a bit.
Missiles fly, tensions escalate. Fearsome eruption between Iran and Israel. Middle East on the boil again.
Operation Rising Lion.
2 nations strike, global tremors.
که رژیم صهیونیستی اشتباه بزرگی کرد.
Without US help and military and intelligence help, Israel couldn't carry out this kind of massive operation against Iran.
Israel-Iran at war.